Busia for me mobia kwa bashon so edepa Ghana politics avenue so. So afei eno abedwumade kese we so like share subscribe to the channel no sane be political trending news bia e ko twi ko brama bia no Ghana politics avenue so na busia for native for magic pennies amuni be djuma amuni ya djumade we abom and your call political highway so no SMP and yaso akot nsem ni be ni say say you know Huruna iddrisu ono minister of education and as say no parliament man muso no na ni abriye pa wasori A.Markins kasa bi okan anya ne de wasori wakase mu enga zamketo akra busia for no okan de o chirimu bi say you know A.Markins kasa okan no oye minority leader ono ene di minority nanim ohwe ama parliament etima tumpo na akoso na say no okakasa bi say enye fe ore ya osa kire ni say leader intimi enkasa sa era busia for yenko ne nkotie de Huruna iddrisu ekan.
The opportunity to contribute to the statement ably made by the Honorable Forson, asking for the Backbenchers Day. And Mr. Speaker, to remind us that all of us entered this house as backbenchers. On your day of entry is your day you are emerging having been elected as member of parliament. Mr. Speaker, parliamentary practice, we are told throughout the world, is based on experience. That is why it's my wish that every backbencher will have an opportunity to rise through the ranks, through the middle bench, even to become the front bench and to lead. But they can only lead if we give them an opportunity to learn. But Mr. Speaker, they themselves must be ready to learn. And when we say they must be ready to learn, in particular for Ghana, two important things. Is the member of parliament familiar with the provisions of the 1992 Constitution? Yes, he must. If for nothing, from Article 106 to 124, every member of parliament must keep a memory of it. If he is the kind of member like the Honorable Abu Jinapo, then he can add the chapters on fundamental human rights and freedoms, because parliament is the guardian of those rights and freedoms. You can add it to 106 so that you learn the section that deals with. Because in a country where there is rule of law, the most fundamental thing would be, so that's why this house at all times, when the right and freedom of any person is infringed upon, we must be worried and concerned, because that is the gravest threat to the practice of democracy. But Mr. Speaker, in discussing Backbenchers Day, I'm happy your clerks at table are here. This house, we must improve upon our own practice. I recall, Mr. Speaker, your good self, you were in the meeting. Even in Akuffo, when we went through the long period from, I should pay respect to the Honorable Papo Owusu Kuma, Yilechre, and the rest, when they said that Parliament must change its standing orders. I recall, Mr. Speaker, in one of the meetings where you were, I contested, but I was defeated. Today, I'm on it. I kept telling them to declare a minority day in the standing orders of this house, and that day must be solely reserved as a minority day, because, Mr. Speaker, the best way to enrich democracy is to have the views of the other side, the opposite side of the aisle. I recall, in fact, Mr. Speaker, I had traveled with one of you to the Assemblée Nationale, the French National Assembly, and another assembly in Sri Lanka and India with the Honorable Osechi Mensah. And I even carried a book to this Parliamentary Review Committee. There was a book written by one of the authorities on rules and procedure. And I drew Parliament's attention that declare a minority day, a day the minority can move a motion. And Mr. Speaker, you recall, I came here with you after we left school. You remember the same year. You remember my popular Edumdumadum Bejai. It was a motion. Bejai, you were here with the Honorable Kandapa and co, with the Hackman and co. So Backbenchers Day, Mr. Speaker, we need to have a dedicated time for the political opposition. Constructive alternatives, not just commentary. Not just commentary. And Mr. Speaker, I've said it repeatedly. The day the Parliament of Ghana will sit right, the Ghanaian people will smile. Because a lot of the wrongs in this country is because Parliament sits and allows it. Why are we having problem with debt? Forgive me, Mr. Speaker. I heard President Addo in Brussels lamenting about excessive borrowing and what debt exchange has done to him. The darkest hour. How did the dark hour happen? Because the Parliament of Ghana failed to limit him and to remind him that yes, you have the powers, but don't borrow excessively. You may disagree. I know you are his special aide. I know that. I know you are his special aide. But Mr. Speaker, I wholeheartedly support that we give backbenchers an opportunity. Then finally, Mr. Speaker, my comment, which you personally have been concerned. When they bring reports to this chamber, how many backbenchers or even frontbenchers want to read the report? Please, when they bring reports, do we go through the report in order to understand what is in the report? So backbenchers must be ready to learn. And to learn is easy. Master the standing orders. And then sometimes, Mr. Speaker, leaders. When I see leaders in front shouting, that's not for leaders to do. If you are a good leader, you must have those who will do that for you. I saw them a while talk about LGBTQ and the Honorable Habib. Interesting times in Ghana. You were in Ghana. Parliament passed the law. Nana Addo Dankwa was in breach of the Constitution. You didn't have the voice. He didn't read Article 106, 106.7.8. Read it. He was in breach. If Parliament gives a bill to the President and he can assent or not assent, the Constitution provides what he should do. Did you do that? Then you allow it to lapse. Then today we are discussing the same matter. I heard the leader talk about there was no administrative error, but there was a constitutional error. The Constitution is elaborate. What do you do? It's not to say that President Akuffo Addo can't disagree with Parliament. But if he disagrees, convey it back to Parliament that I disagree with you and this is my reasoning. I will not do it because of this reason. We should pass it. Or I simply would have ended by saying, why didn't you pass it? But it will be passed. Thank you. New members of Parliament can learn through your guide what is it that is called subsidiary legislation, or what is it that is called a regulation. And Chairman, to thank the chair of the committee, at least for being proactive in reporting back to this House. Because, Mr. Speaker, in the past, we've had instances where regulations are late. The report is not even provided for the House at least to have a bite and make consequential guidance. And, Mr. Speaker, as noted by the chair of the committee, one of the principal responsibilities of the Committee of Subsidiary Legislation, which has been satisfied in this instance, I need the Constitution, is whether the regulation is consistent with the provisions of the Parent Act, and whether the regulations and the Parent Act are respecting the tenets of the provisions of the 1992 Constitution. I've noted that they have provided for all that. And then in particular, Mr. Speaker, the purpose of the regulation is carefully provided for under Regulations 1. And then for our learners, Article 11.7 of the Constitution, for those who have studied law, we describe it as the hierarchy of the laws in order of significance or importance, the Constitution, enactments, orders, rules, and regulations. But, Mr. Speaker, 11.7 says that any order, rule, or regulation made by a person or authority under a power conferred by this Constitution or any other law shall be laid before Parliament. It's been laid, published in the Gazette. So again, for our new members of Parliament, normally when a bill is introduced, you go to the back page and see whether it's been gazetted or not. And it's for two important reasons. Yesterday, the leadership were debating it. It's whether a bill, even though this is a regulation, so there is a difference between a bill and a regulation, is whether a bill laid before Parliament satisfies the requirement of Article 106 of the Constitution, explanatory memorandum and other issues. We take it for granted. And yesterday, the leader tried to resolve it. But what is important for members of Parliament is that it shall not come into force or at the expiration of 21 sitting days after being so late, unless Parliament, by the expiration of the 21 days, annuls the order. So the only power we have here is that we can annul. But we can only annul with a vote of not less than 2/3. So that once it is late, Mr. Speaker, as you used to observe in your last life at the other side, you were one of the expertise in this area, is whether there can be correction to a regulation once it's laid before the House. And we've been guided by the reference you've always made to the Supreme Court ruling on the matter. So, Mr. Speaker, finally, on the content itself, Mr. Speaker, there are many companies in Ghana, even today, that are in distress, and I hope that colleagues will tolerate me. It's not to do politics. If you were a company in 2019 or 2021, and you went in to borrow at the exchange rate of $6 to $1, by 2023-24, the same $6 from $18 million became $36 million. Naturally, that company would be in distress. And that company is likely to be cited for liquidation or insolvency. Now, with this law, you are giving hope to many of those entities that know, undertake some restructuring and see whether you can. So that's why the performance of government has some significance on how the private sector and corporate entities survive and thrive. So if you took a loan in 2019 at $6, 18 million times $3 million, the same $3 million, because of exchange rate differentials, became $32 million. How is any company going to work and pay that? This provides an opportunity that no, it is not the doing of the company. It is not. Therefore, give the company an opportunity in order to be able to have life. With this comment, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
Touching the matter in issue.
Touching the matter in issue.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
So help me.
So help me God.
Honorable member. Honorable member, you are welcome.
Thank you, Honorable Chairman and Honorable members.
On behalf of the Appointments Committee of Parliament, I congratulate you on your nomination by His Excellency the President.
Thank you for those compliments, and I cherish the opportunity to do some service to the Ghanaian public.
Now, I will start by asking you one question. There is a group calling itself Alliance for Accountable Governance. They have petitioned against your nomination. And according to them, there seems to be, you seem to be having two CVs. One, you have a Master of Philosophy, MPhil, and one, there's no MPhil. Can you explain the difference? The cause for that difference in the CV?
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Chairman and Honorable members. First of all, I think I appreciate the fact that any member of the Ghanaian public and any civil society group has a legitimate right to raise such concerns, especially so that one is aspiring to, one has been nominated by His Excellency the President to be a Minister of State. I welcome that legitimate concern. But be as it may, I graduated from the University of Ghana in 1997 with BA Honours, and subsequently went back to the same University of Ghana in 1998 to begin a program for the Master of Philosophy degree in Sociology, which, Honorable Chairman, I'm happy that there is a professor among your membership. The MPhil program is divided into two phases. One is the MA phase, for which you write a written exam, and in my view, the most competitive. The second phase is where you enter into a thesis for the purpose of the Master of Philosophy degree. Honorable Chairman, I passed the MA first phase of the exams, and I remember I was the most excellent student, and the university awarded me what was known as a Christmas Fellowship because of my academic excellence. That was when the MA aspect of it was written. I then even also began to support my lecturers in teaching social psychology as a teaching assistant, and then proceeded to the writing of my thesis, which was titled A Sociological Study of Bribery and Corruption in the Public Service of Ghana. Honorable Chairman, I do have a copy of the thesis, and I believe that as and when it becomes necessary, my famous or infamous thesis, honorable members may want to appreciate it. The thesis made reference to 63 authorities and references, including the very author I'm alleged or reported to have plagiarized. That is Justice P.D. Enin, 1972 Commission of Inquiry report to investigate into bribery and corruption. So as a matter of fact, my thesis, I do not think that it's right for anybody to claim that I appropriated some other person's thesis or some other master's for the purpose of obtaining Master of Philosophy. I reference 63 authors, including Justice P.D. Enin report of 1972. Honorable Chairman, along the line, as a young person and in my quest to contribute to the development of knowledge, I published a book which you will notice in my CV is currently under review and have been withdrawn, Zero Tolerance Public Sector Corruption in Ghana. And there was an advertisement by the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences for a gold award. Believing in the strength and substance of my thesis, I voluntarily and confidently entered for that award. And it was in evaluating that award that it was detected that some portions of the thesis contain what has been referred to as non-acknowledged material. So this was brought to the attention of the University of Ghana authority. And then the university set up a 4-member committee. I do believe that the final report of the committee which investigated the suspected plagiarism was a respected 4-man professor. Honorable Chairman, the committee in its findings established that the research work was originally my own work. The committee further established that the University of Ghana had no parameters or clear criteria in determining what constituted plagiarism or not. Therefore, the committee recommended that 1, the university sets up a committee to determine the parameters of plagiarism. But I believe that the committee dealt with my own on the substance of the case and on the basis of the lack of parameters of what constitutes plagiarism. The committee further found out that indeed in my thesis, I'm quoting the committee, I made extensive reference to Justice P.D. Inin, except in some foregoing cases of human error and human slips, where maybe in a particular page I should have done inverted commas and put in 1975. I'm human. Those slip by. Now the university, after the committee
Bibi a waje bredi a hweji media ba bedwum so yero bibi a se ano me Ghana politics avenue so guso a hweji media no like share subscribe to the channel sani we political trending news bia ekotwi ko bia no mo so maje penny se mo ni be djuma nam ne ya djuma die we abom abusuafo ha enemre e ma kwan se me fam si Akroma